22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. Today, look around America. We see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You were tuned into Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show. Live simulcast on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it these days. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Couple of quick things before. I'm AJ Woodson, my partner Damon K. Jones. Damon K. Jones, like the notorious B.I.G., got a story to tell, but we're going to do that.
I'm not telling that one today.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure he got something to talk about, but we got a couple of things real quick. So first and foremost, we always say her name, say her name. Today is the 9-year anniversary of the Speak and Be Heard, Say Her Name, Ray Ned Turner Town Hall. In July 2015, 6 black women were killed in police custody or by the police. Most famously was Sandra Bland, and the last one of the month was Mount Vernon's Ray Ned Turner, who had stole $35 worth of crab legs and died in police custody in Mount Vernon Police Department. So, today we're dealing with civil rights, criminal justice, and all that. Very important. We remember those who lost their lives. Even though the stories even though it's 9 years, we must always say their name, say their name, say their name. Moving on. Go ahead.
Since we're going to have brother coming on later to the show, Uncle Selwyn, I think it's important for us to continue to have discussions about police accountability and police oversight.
Absolutely.
We also have to have honest discussions and not discussions of fear. And I wanted to take this time because I hear a lot of people say and we have to explain. We really have to explain what's going on and how do we deal and how do we hold on. AJ, just say something for a second.
All right, no doubt. So speaking about the town hall, let me remember it was joined. There were several activists, community activists, and several mothers who lost loved ones, died at the hands of police. The forum included pastors from the community, Constant Malcolm, mother of Ramali Graham, say his name. Danette Chavez of the National Action Against Police Brutality, and Sharon Salam, mother of Yusef Salam, formerly of the Central Park Five, now the Exonerated Five, and now New York City Councilman representing Harlem. And it was moderated by our own Cynthia Turnquest Jones, who was the CEO of the Brown Urban Mother Partnership, the BUMP. Shout out to Cynthia and all that put this together. That was held in Mount Vernon at the mansion. Yo, did you want to say any more of that? Because I got a couple more.
Yeah. I wanted to just address some stuff because, and people might disagree with me, but I really don't think when we're talking about police immunity, and they're saying Trump is going to give police immunity. Police already have immunity. Police already have immunity, and when we have these lawsuits, and if y'all think I'm not telling the truth, when we have these lawsuits, that's why they don't sue the police personally, because they already have immunity. I do not believe
if he does the immunity thing, you won't have any lawsuits against police departments or anything.
No. The federal government, no. The federal government cannot make those sweeping type of laws with police departments.
I'm saying that's what he's talking about. We have to be clear.
But you can't do it unless they're going to change the posse comitatus rule, because the government cannot use the police as standing armies. That's why when President Barack Obama put out the 21st Century Policing, it can only been recommendations. Then I challenge anybody to say that I'm wrong. It could only be recommendations. He couldn't make those national policy changes. It has to be done by state by state. That's why they don't say that your police department runs by federal standards. They say state minimum standards. It's up to the state. It's up to the municipalities. The president cannot do it unless they're going to change the posse comitatus rule.
Well, that's what I wanted you to address. That it can't be done.
And I don't believe he's even going to be able to change that. So when we're talking about immunity, please, politics is local. Politics is local. And it kills me that we have Democrats and black mayors all over the United States, and we're not having actual police accountability policies in these cities. Then they're going to scare you that Trump is going to be able to do it. No. Make your local town, city, and state representative pass these laws.
Your district attorney,
right? And your district attorneys and your attorney generals. You know, we're living in New York. We haven't heard anything from Tish James about police reform and accountability of the police departments in New York that she's over.
And she hasn't.
Even after we made all these recommendations, sent all these reports to her office under Governor Cuomo, which she was supposed to make recommendations of best practices, and she did not do that. Let's start when I'm not for fear, right? You can support Trump, you can support Kamala, you whatever you want to do, but what I'm not having is these fear pushing people about policies and accountability of police when it comes to black and brown people. So let's not get that. Let's get to the truth. And if I'm wrong, prove me wrong in the Constitution. Prove me wrong when there's a law that they can do it, because the posse comitatus rule says that the government cannot use police as standing armies. And that's why President Barack Obama could not. You could go in. President, no, it's okay. President Barack Obama couldn't force the police departments to use the 21st century policing model. If that was the case, he could have done it back then.
Absolutely.
So let's stop putting fear in people. And if people disagree with me, they disagree with me. But I'm saying, prove us wrong. Prove me wrong in what I'm saying. Because I'm really tired of this fear mongering in this political cycle. when Black people need to do for ourselves and need to demand our interests in this in every political cycle and in every level of government. People want to make it personal against Kamala. It's not personal against Kamala. But when do we demand what we're supposed to demand? When do we get things for our vote instead of we just making history? And we ain't getting no legislation from it. We ain't getting no laws because Black people have been directly affected from the laws and the policies of the United States since we have been brought here as slaves. And if we don't get anything that directly addresses that to the descendants of slaves and the Jim Crow and the racism and the redlining and the police brutality, then we just fooling ourselves. We are just fooling ourselves. And Negroes even scared to bring up reparations while they're sending billions of dollars to all these other countries. And we scared to talk about reparations. And we think because we're going to have a Black person in there, we are winning. We did that before. We've been there before with President Barack Obama. And what's the old saying? When you do the same thing and you expect a different result, it's insanity. Black people are fucking insane. We ain't gonna get no more than what we got from President Barack Obama. And Black communities look the same. Mount Vernon looks the same. Yonkers looks the same. White Plains, where Black people live, look the same. Greenburg, where Black people live, look the same. Elmsford, Terrytown, Peekskill, Port Chester, they all look the same. I'm done.
So, before I move on to that, you did mention Tish James. You did mention what she hasn't done. Shout out to Raymond Fowler, Rodney Bynum, and Reverend Hollis, who are, I think, tuned in. She also has not come back whether she is going to indict the officer of New Rochelle Police Detective Stephen Kahn for the death of Jarrell Garris that took place July 3rd, 2023. It's been over a year, 13, almost 14 months. And the family has still not heard nothing. So I want to say his name, and I want to keep that alive.
Absolutely,
Also,
absolutely. And she still hasn't responded to the letter of the families of previous victims to ask what is she going to do and how is she going to address it. She still hasn't answered that. Only thing she talked about since she got in office was Trump. See, this is where we get fooled by this BS. You don't respond to family victims over a year. You don't even give them an update or anything like that. You don't respond to a letter with victims, with families of victims throughout the state of New York. You don't respond to it. But every time these families see you on TV, you talking about Trump. We are getting so hypnotized by this foolishness. We're forgetting our own interests. And I'm going to quote the late and great Reggie Lafayette, who told me,
and me,
it's not about personal friendships.
There's no personal friends. There's no personal enemies.
Personal enemies. It's just personal interests. So Black people, what are your interests? And don't tell me we just don't want Trump to get in. I have to have, as a grown man that reads a book a month, you're going to have to tell me a little more than that you just don't want Trump to get in. You have to tell me, what are we getting? How are our babies not going to be starving, not living in poverty? We're in Westchester County, and there's many, many Black and brown babies living in poverty. 40% of single Black mothers live in poverty. Average Black family is making around 60,000 a year, and the average house in Westchester County is 700 and something thousand. How are they going to own a home? How are they going to own a home? And now banks are buying up homes and then renting them out, which raises the market of the houses. So how is the average Black person going to own a home? Oh, you're going to tell me, well, we're going to raise the minimum wage. Well, how are you going to do that where mom and pop businesses can't afford $25, $30 an hour for an employee? How are you going to fix that? Instead of talking all this kumbaya stuff, we need solutions as Black people. We own less land now than we had when we were freed from slavery. And now we don't even make enough money a year to buy an acre of land, let alone America reneged on its 40 acres and a mule. So this is what they need to, whatever party says they represent us, this is what they need to talk about before we give our vote. Or we're going to be in the same predicament with these foolish entertainers like Steve Harvey telling Black people not to demand nothing. What kind of slave-minded Uncle Tom foolishness is that? These entertainers is leading Black people to destruction while they get big checks. Keep listening to Steve Harvey and D.L. Hughley and all these all these other fools. You still gonna be poor. You still gonna have a bunch of Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and bad credit. You're still not gonna own no home. Your kids still gonna be going to a bad school. Y'all better get it right, Black people. Because this is ridiculous. And you're still going to be shot and killed by police. Because these politicians you're putting in office are not changing policy, legislation. They're not changing nothing. We in Westchester County. We had major police shootings of unarmed Black people. And we still have democratic cities that have not put a civilian complaint review board. But y'all still vote for them.
Absolutely. So, this is the month of August. August is Black.
This is Black Power August.
It's also Black Business Month.
Black Power August.
So
and they keep and let me tell you something. If they keep on not paying attention, it won't be Black Business Month because we won't have no businesses.
It's also the 10-year anniversary of Black Westchester. The 10-year anniversary commemorative issue is coming out in the next 10 days or so. So you still got chances, all you people that said you were interested, to get your last minute advertisement in. If you want to support us, you can make donations and the whole nine. Been rocking, been giving you the news of the Black point of view since 2014, and the radio show been giving you real talk for the community since 2014. And we always say we always complain about the media not representing our interests. When you have local, community, independent, free media that does, you have to support it, because freedom is not free. So look out for the issue coming soon. Like I said, you get your ads in the next couple of days. Thank you, HB Davis, and congratulations on the 10-year milestone. Sandy, our guest, will be here in the next 15, 20 minutes or so. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and holding us down for 10 long years. It's been 10 long years. It's been a lot of bumps and bruises. We made this up as we went along. We did this because we was tired of how we was portrayed in the media. We wanted to tell our stories, and stories that don't get told by the mainstream media. Some of it is by design. Some of it their producer don't think it's a big enough story. Till Black Westchester makes enough noise, then all of a sudden it's a bigger story. So if it wasn't for the Black Westchesters and the traditional Black media out there, some of these stories would never get told. So we stand on the shoulders of all of them. So thank you all.
And we thank everybody for their support. But imagine for 10 years, you have been reporting and talking on issues that not only affect Black people, but affect society. And imagine you start repeating yourself. Imagine every election year you repeat yourself. Just imagine that. And imagine for 10 years you've been reporting on issues in communities of color, and you're reporting the same issues every year. Just imagine that.
I remember one day you said the police killings, got to a point where you could almost use the same press release and change the name.
I wasn't almost. I was just changing the name, the police department, and the date.
And it's getting like, and that's what, as the editor of Black Westchester, that's what it seems like. That's what it feels like too. Sometimes I'm telling the same story. I'm just changing the date, like you said, the police department, the name of the cop, the name of the person who got killed. But basically, it's like telling the same story over and over and over. It does get frustrating. You wonder if people are listening. People walk around and tell me and Damon, yo, thank you for what you do. What you do is important. We really need that. But sometimes it feels like, and I can speak for me, I don't know if Damien agrees with me, sometimes it feels like, are they really listening? Are they really reading? Are we really making a difference? Because we keep the same situations over and over and over. And it seems like, very few changes. The only changes we get is different faces in the city hall, different faces in the county exec's office, different faces in the different offices, different district attorneys, but we're still telling the same stories. And as a historian, when I read back the traditional African American papers, sometimes I feel like I'm telling the same stories
that they were telling.
That they were telling. We met a brother. I actually didn't get a chance to meet him when he came up here. He's from South Carolina. He called after Damon wrote the article paying tribute to Keith Herman, who, along with Ernie Davis, was the first Black county legislator in Westchester County. And he was like, he was doing this work in the 60s. He's since retired and is now a pastor out there. And he said, you know what? At some point he gave up, and then he saw Damon's article and he went through the website, and he was rejuvenated. And he's telling me a lot of stuff he read It's the same stuff that they was dealing with in the 60s and the 70s, and we're telling the same stories. It's a little bit different. Things change, names changes, places changes, but some of the situations have not changed. And that's frustrating after a while. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's going to continue happening until our people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And, we're going to continue to do our part as long as we can. But, it's going to take all of us for there to be a change. So, in 5 minutes, for those wondering, about 5 minutes or so, we're going to bring on our guest, Selwyn Jones, the uncle of George Floyd. We wrote an article recently. He joined the March for Sonia Massey in Chicago. And you can go click on the link, go catch that on the first page of Black Westchester, see the video of him speaking. And, I saw an interview with him, and he reminded me of our own Kenneth Chamberlain, who got into this because of the loss of a relative and continues to go support all the families that came afterwards. His story was similar. Since then, he has been standing with other victims. I think your IG feed went down. If you can't catch it on IG, Jennifer, we are on Facebook.
No, wait, hold on. I'm trying to fill it back up.
He's fixing that, but we're also, just for anybody else, we're on Facebook, my page and Damon's page. We're on YouTube on the Black Westchester page and Damon's page. We're on LinkedIn on my page, Damon's page, and Black Westchester. And we're on X on Damon's page and Black Westchester's page. So you can catch it on all of those. YouTube as well, Black Westchester and Damon's YouTube. So you can follow it on all of that. But I just wanted to give this man his props. It's unfortunate if you're talking to somebody, mute your mic, Damon. It's unfortunate that we keep having these situations and that people like Kenneth Chamberlain and people like this brother Selwyn join these fights because of what has happened to them, because of losses that they had in their family. And, I watched our brother Kenneth Chamberlain, shout out to him, who's still fighting for justice for his father, 12, 13 years later. I personally watched him stand with other families like Jarrell Garrison and Rochelle and several others, Raynette Turner's family again, which was 9 years ago. And all these other family members, I can't remember the brother's name, in Brooklyn, and we went. He stood with Ramali Graham's family in the Bronx. Okay. Damon to be back real soon. He got to handle something real quick. So, I want to. In the story, he says my nephew's death was bad, but to see them knock on the door, to see this lady who was obviously in a mental crisis, to take advantage of her is absolutely horrible. Mr. Jones said about Sandra Massey, and he stood with the family. He co-founded an organization called Hope929 Organization, a charity focused on promoting civil rights and creating change in honor of his nephew George Floyd. I want to welcome to the show Mr. Selwyn Jones. It is an honor, my brother, to have you on the show. Just so you know, like Black Westchester has been standing with and covering these issues over and over. I'm actually working on a book that should have been out before your nephew, but there have been so many incidents after it's still not out yet. White people cannot comprehend the deadly consequences of being Black. And it talks about
that one before.
Huh?
I've heard that one before. I've heard that one before, man. I appreciate you giving me an opportunity, and that was such a grandiose introduction. I give God the thanks. I give God the thanks, man, because without God, without something that fuels my fire, Selwyn's not here. George Floyd was my big sister's baby boy, as I always reiterate. And we come from old deep South, tobacco putting in, white person calling you nigger, giving you a dry tobacco nab and a little bitty pop when they gave the other people the big pops and a ham sandwich. That's where I come from. I come from because I got these beautiful freckles, getting kicked and beat up as a kid because nobody looked like me 60 years ago. So I come from all those places, man. But to sit down one morning at 7 o'clock, and I just watched Ahmaud Arbery. I just watched Breonna Taylor, and I've seen the Eric Gardners and all these other people. And to sit there, and I'm in South Dakota where it is completely, but and to sit there and watch this situation unfold, and I sit back and I'm madder than heck, thinking, "Wow, why don't somebody help him? Why do these people keep doing this?" And my sister calls me, and then I realized that person that I was feeling empathy was one of mine. And man, let me tell you something. I can still feel it, just like it was 7:30 in the morning on May the 26th. I went from seeing my nephew laughing, talking, laughing, dancing, begging, crying, and dying underneath of someone that was supposed to protect and serve him. And since that particular day, I think I've been to 45, 50 funerals. So, the Sonia Massey's, the Dexter Reed Jr.'s, the Tyrese Nichols, and we can go on and on, Alexis Wilson, uh, Reginald Clark Jr., and this list keeps going on and on and on and on. You talk about jail systems, Tarrant County Jail in Dallas Fort Worth. There's been 65 people to die there in the last 7 years. 3 have died in the last month. Frank Tyson, Cleveland. There was a guy that died there last night, because he was having a mental health issue. So they're doing a lot of criminalizing mental health issue as crimes. They don't want to assist you in helping them, but they will assist in killing them or incarcerating them, so states can make money off them as free labor. So, man, let me tell you, Uncle Selwyn's job is never finished. It never will be finished, man, because every day I wake up and I wonder what's going to happen to us next. What's going to happen to us next? And it looks like what might happen to us next is that guy that totally destroyed a lot of things 8 years ago is going to come back around. 4 years ago, is going to come back around. So, man, when do we ever get a break?
Absolutely.
When do we ever get a break?
Absolutely. One of the things I always said, in the Bible, they break up AD and BC, after death and before Christ. That's the difference. And criminal justice is before George Floyd and after George Floyd. George Floyd was the perfect storm because of COVID, and everybody was locked in. They saw this video over and over. People that normally wouldn't be in front of their TV, you couldn't escape it. It set off protests in most of the major cities in the United States,
over the world,
and 22 other countries. You know what I'm saying?
All over the world.
This was the thing that made everybody start talking about. But elected officials talking about bringing criminal justice reform and all this other stuff. And Black Westchester started in 2014, and June and August, a month or so later, we lost Eric. We lost Mike Brown, and then we lost Eric Garner. Kind of changed the trajectory of what we did. But with Eric Garner, though, everything that we always were saying, oh man, I wish we had it on tape. We had it on tape. I wish they would have ruled it as a homicide. They ruled it as a homicide. Like, it was like, there's no way the cop is going to get away with this one. And look what happened.
I will be in New York on the 14th. Gwen Carr, which is my dearest friend, is having a gala, and I'm going to go and support her. Me and her spoke at Harvard 2 months ago for channeling grief and activism. And when I saw that Eric Gardner thing, when I talk to her now, I have to salute her because she's different. She's different. Gwen Carr is at it 24 hours a day. She's got a building. She's giving back to her community. Gwen Carr did not get 1 cent. Selwyn Jones did not get 1 cent. Because with the ability of the way that my nephew died, if I can't take this and make a big impact on this world, because keep in mind, COVID, Derek Chauvin was not supposed to work that day. Darnella Frazier never walks her niece down that block because it's a gang community. So she never goes to that store. So all of these elements came together, and for 3 days, the whole world came in unison, and they were saying my big sister's baby boy name because
what kind of food do you eat? You say soul food? Was that the food?
What'd you do? You're muted. Uncle Selwyn, this is Damon K.
I'm looking at him. He busted right in on us, man. I'm like, whoa.
Yo, Dave, this is my partner. We started Black Westchester together. We co-host the show. Damon, your mic is muted. Yeah. He had to go. He had to run, take care of something real quick. But
I apologize, Unc. I was trying to get the banner off so we could see your face.
Okay.
But thank you for coming to the show. I really appreciate it.
The gray beards are on the show today. The gray beard.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, brother.
So, man, I'm just telling you, brother, people that could read and people that did want to read. And everybody had it stuck in their face, just like they stick racism in our face, just like, oh, God, what do you think about that dark-skinned brother with that fair-skinned white person with that little bitty Asian girl as their daughter now? They're sticking it in our face, and it just looks so totally unnatural, and they stuck systemic racism in our face for so long that guess what happened? We started believing it.
Right.
A lot of our people started believing it. And George Floyd gave us an opportunity where you don't have to believe it.
Right.
I mean, we've got the people down in the goon squad down in Memphis, Tennessee. They're arrested. And I hate to say this. This is one of the worst things that I've probably done since I've been doing this. Is when I had to go down to Memphis, Tennessee, and to see that 5 blue, because we're not going to distinguish whether they were black or white, but that 5 blue pulled that heinous crime over an X.
That's right.
What were they thinking? What were they thinking? They said, or they weren't thinking, hey,
exactly.
They set our race back. Because everybody already thinks that black men are animals. We kill and beat and pillage and loot and stuff. And that was one of the most horrific moments of my life when I got off the plane. And I had to see all these pictures of these brothers. And I said on scene, the master called the slaves in to do his work.
That's right.
And everybody swore I was, oh my God, I can't believe you said that.
That's right.
What happened? That was programming. That was programming. The only thing the white guy had to do was give him the ticket and tell him to go on home. But no. So that camaraderie and that brotherhood, we see that it don't matter which color you are as a police officer.
That's right.
The good ones and bad ones. I always tell people that. I'm not talking about the good ones because we need police officers. There's a lot of great ones. But there's those 1% that are bad. Let me tell you, you know how hard it was to look at Massey's family in the face? You know how hard that was? And I've been doing this for so long, man, and I've heard so many cases. Young man got killed in Cleveland, Ohio last night. Whenever a bad incident happened, I'm notified. Because a lot of times I will go and support the families. And the Sonya Massey one, it really affected me, man, because when George Floyd said, "Mama," I honestly think in my mind that my sister had her hands down because she died a year and a half before him. And I honestly think my sister knew my sister had her hands on it and said, "Come on and come with me, son." Because if you seen that video, you knew that the black dude was dying in that movie.
That's right.
And it's crazy because I can imagine what she saw when she said, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." She saw that demonic look in that man's face. And she knew that evil was lurking. Imagine how she felt. Imagine the terror that went through her eyes when this man drew that gun on her. When they've had dealings with her before because of her mental health issues. That wasn't the first time they've been there. And for him to think about this, if you owned a daycare, would you hire somebody that had been convicted 3 times for child molestation?
Absolutely not.
Why would you hire somebody that had been at 6 different police departments, 2.5 years on your team? That's a ticking time bomb waiting to happen. And where does it normally happen at?
In our community. That's right. That's right. That's
so,
right.
man, you know, it's when you think you've seen one, you hope that the next one isn't going to paralyze you. But that one paralyzed me. This woman was 100 pounds. And you hear people say, well, she was gonna throw a pot of hot water on them. Okay, a pot of hot water. You signed up for the job.
Exactly.
You know, to be the police officer. No disrespect, but you signed up to be a doctor, a lawyer, a counselor. You signed up for a variety of things. And how is a pot of hot water going to be a death sentence? And these are excuses that people make. Well, she was going to throw the pot of water. She set the pot of water down. So there was never any escalation on her behalf. She was a docile human being. She did exactly what she was told to do. And it was a closed casket. He should get the death penalty.
Yes.
He executed that woman in her house when she called for help. So, man, you know, just don't slow down. You know, 4 years after George died, death, 4 years before, there's been they've been 1.5 times more deaths since George has been dead in the last 4 years.
Absolutely.
So, you know, so it ain't slowing down.
It never has, brother. I'm retired law enforcement for 33 years. For 23 of my 33 years, I've been talking about this issue.
Hold on for a second. Excuse me?
Yes, sir.
Hold on, let me clean my glasses. You might have good looking to be 60 years old, man.
No, I'm not 60, brother. I'm 56. I started.
Okay, I was about to say 37 years, man. You
Yeah,
started police
yeah,
when you were 12 years old, man.
No, I started when I was 21, and I did 33.
Man, what's wrong? Something wrong with that picture? Cause the 66 that I was born, man. Ooh wee, boy! I tell you, it's been hard, man. It's been hard, bro. It's been hard, man.
I wasn't brainwashed by the job. You know, I understood that there were black officers that fought for me to get the job to protect my community.
I love it. How do you handle? I was talking to some Chicago policemen last week. And this question is for you.
Yes, sir.
Everybody knows that there's a wild dog in the pack. You see those attitudes. You see those time bombs that are ticking. How did you deal with somebody that you knew was a time bomb?
Well, I mean, when you have the reputation that I did at my job, because I was in corrections, they didn't do none of that around you. You know, because I was very outspoken. So, you know, they didn't do none of that around me. And when you have officers, and I know other officers like that, that they don't do that around that officer because they know that officer is going to check them. But that was Black law enforcement's original duty, was to go in there to make sure that this institution was not abusing our people. But we got caught up. We got caught up with the slave badge, and we, like those brothers that you was talking about that did that. That was not only embarrassment for Black men, that was embarrassment for Black law enforcement. Those of us that go to do the job to protect our community, to make sure that our community is safe, and be those type of problem solvers, that our people need in the law enforcement institution. I was hated. I was hated even by Black officers. I get it. Right. I really get it. But, when I came in 90, it was a different type of Black officer, because they came out of the civil rights era, the Black Power era, and some was in the Nation of Islam. There was a lot of NYPD that was in the Nation of Islam. So the community aspect with the older officers were there. We just didn't have social media and all that stuff at that time. But now,
Now you're telling our age.
Right, exactly. And now, to see Black officers do that, to Black people is horrendous. I used to tell everybody, I will go harder on a Black officer than a white officer, because I expect it from
the white officer.
Those Black officers. You shouldn't be doing this, bro. I'm going to go at you. I'm going to get you.
You know that they are. I'm thinking, well, I can only speak for one that I literally know the stats for. There's over 6,000 deaths in New York a year, while in custodial deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. And how many of those are related to medical assistance?
A lot of them.
I'm pushing a bill called the Medical Civil Rights Bill, which would call for immediate medical attention for anybody that's with any involvement with a peace officer. If you're at a mall cop, if you're at a college,
that's right.
George Floyd hollered or Eric Gardner said, "I can't breathe," they had to subdue them in a timely fashion, sit them up in a prone position, and give them medical assistance. So how many people are in jail? And I've heard of probably 5 in the last week. One guy stayed in there for 10 days. He was Andrew Askew in Cleveland, and he was in there for 10 days, and he had a bleeding ulcer and died. And there was this dude that was just in Cleveland, Ohio. He was in a slammer cell. And now, am I correct? When you are incarcerated, the guards have to have a check every 30 minutes or an hour?
Yes.
Okay. He was in a slammer cell. When they took him out in the morning, rigor mortis had set in. It takes 5 to 8 hours, depending on the temperature, before rigor mortis set in. So
he didn't do his job. He didn't do his job. Now some see. Here's the problem. Some facilities are not technology. They're not advanced as other facilities. Right.
Yeah, but your feet. You got guards that you pay to walk those cell blocks.
But he probably didn't even do his tour, because he couldn't do his tour, because you're supposed to make sure that these people are alive. Even if you question, you bang on the cell to make them move.
These are the things on a slammer cell.
Exactly. So some of these correctional facilities, and I tell everybody, not all correctional facilities are the same. Some are very, very aggressive in how they treat. I mean, not aggressive. They're very proactive in the security and the custody of the inmates, and some just don't care.
If y'all want to say some crazy stuff, pull up Tarrant County, Texas. There's been Anthony Johnson just got killed there about 2 months ago, and he was having a mental health issue, and they had 8 officers on him. And in Tarrant County, Texas, there have been 65 Black people there to get murdered in the last 7 years. Same sheriff. It's
Really?
just like, have you heard the situation in Jackson, Mississippi, where they
No.
found the Wade boy? The Wade boy was missing for a month. His mama called, goes to the police station, and says, "I'm looking for my son." Well, somebody told her, "Go and you need to probably check behind the jail." Anyhow, they had buried him back there. They
Wow.
said that they did not know they did not know he had no identification on him. When they exhumed the body, guess what was in his front pocket?
His ID.
ID card.
Yo, you can't.
His grave number was 617. There's been 800 people missing in Jackson, Mississippi from 2004 to 2024. And I think we found 617 of them buried behind a jail in Jackson, Mississippi. So, man, they're not slowing down.
No.
Think about that. Think about that. How now? Somebody had to dig the hole. Somebody had to tell somebody where to dig the hole. Somebody had to open the gate.
Exactly.
And nobody's been arrested.
Because when there's no accountability,
He's a former Marine. The gentleman he's talking about is a former Marine. This happened on June 24th or something? Yeah. The medical examiner classified the death of the 31-year-old as homicide. The former Marine, he died on April 21st. He died on April 21st, Tarrant County Jail, after a struggle with the jailer outside the cell. Examiners ruled that Johnson died from a mechanical and chemical asphyxia, meaning he could not get enough oxygen because his airwaves were being restricted by chemical or physical force or object. I put the link up and people can.
So they must have sprayed him with something while they was beating the hell out of him.
Well, if you look at the video, if you getting hashtag Justice for George, I have the videos up of all the crimes that I've seen, and oh my God, that was bad. But let me tell you the worst one. The worst one to me that I've seen since Sonia Massey was the young man in Milwaukee that went into the girls' bathroom. He was having a mental health crisis. He goes into the bathroom of the Hyatt Hotel. They drag him out. Employees dragged the man out by his leg. And they were beating the heck out of him. And they killed him right in the middle of the parking lot.
That's the one that they just saw put up, right? Was that the one? Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
That was one. And then there was another one shot when Donald Trump had his little rally down there. And they shot him 6 blocks away.
What, they thought he was the shooter?
No, it was well, you know what, man? I don't know because it was 6 blocks away. Oh my God. Man, he has got to be the worst shot in the world. Or he was the best shot in the world.
There's a lot of
right.
There's a lot of oh my
God.
God. Yes.
I find it hard to believe that you can miss a shot by 1/8 of an inch. But
we never know. Like we never know.
The wind could have disturbed it or something just to nick the ear, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Even if Donald Trump was looking forward, he probably caught more meat. Because remember, he had his head.
Hey, look at there. Look at there. Anyhow, man. I'm gonna leave it alone, man. Uncle Selwyn's not a politician, he's a humanitarian. Look at there. Oh my God. Thank God I can do this on your show and not sitting it straight with Selwyn.
No, hey man, listen.
This is what we do.
We're here for, brother.
Real talk for the community since 2014. And I'm telling you, like we said, we started, and a month later, Mike Brown, and a month later after that, Eric Garner. And they kind of we were just starting. We just making it up as we went along.
And you know what was crazy? The original article we did for Black Westchester was on 4, was it 4 or 5?
Four black parole officers.
Four black parole officers that were in the city up here in Westchester County, who went to do a home check. Now they had bulletproof vests on that said parole.
NYS, New York State parole.
Parole. They had their badges around their neck.
On chains. Yeah. And
then someone called the police on them. They were in the parole, or it was in a parole squad car.
And what did they think it was Halloween or something?
They called the police on them, and the police rolled up on them, pulled the guns out on them, put them on the ground,
held them at gunpoint for 45 minutes
until one of the cops recognized one of the parole officers.
They thought it was Halloween, and you dressed up and bulletproof vests
and after, so Damon was standing with the parole officers because nothing was done, so they were announcing their lawsuit, and he had me come through and just videotape, because the news don't show our press conferences in totality. They show like a little piece of it.
Oh,
so, So Damon started videotaping the press conferences. And then after he, I always had a blog or something, always something that bothered me. After Damon gave me the video on YouTube, I basically wrote an article. If it's not safe for them in the streets, what the average guy like me got? What chance the average guy like me got? And that kind of was the birth of Black Westchester.
Yeah, that was the birth.
Telling that story ended up being the birth of Black Westchester 10 years ago. And
love it. Yeah. Congratulations, man. When you say that, this brings me back to Dexter Reed Jr. How did you get shot 96 times in 41 seconds? Why would you empty a 17-round clip? Empty it, reload it, and empty that clip for somebody standing, I don't know, 5 feet away.
Because
then the police officer gets shot on the other side of the car in the hand
by his partner.
By his partner, and they're gonna say that Dexter Reed Jr. shot him.
Exactly. Listen,
Amadou Diallo didn't even have a gun. He just wallet.
He was,
and they 41 shots. 2 cops emptied their clips. And the other ones didn't have full clips, but they emptied theirs too.
I talked to his uncle Roosevelt all the time. And once again, you have people that don't know how. You have people that are afraid and scared. And you have people that are in trauma and mental anguish, and they're thinking, okay, what in the hell? What do we do? And I have been able to communicate with some of these people. I got a call from a young lady. Her son died in jail at 8:30. She called me at like 9 o'clock and says, Uncle Selwyn, can you help me? And that's the thing that I have done, and I'm so proud of, that people are able to call me and say, hey, Uncle Selwyn, is there anything that you can assist me at? Are there any ideas that you have?
That's right.
Because I just left St. Louis, Missouri. There was a international peace conference down there. The community and the church are non-existent anymore. When we were kids, you had a barbecue, you had an Easter egg hunt, you had a baby day, and now that's non-existent. So I've created an event called Put Down the Guns and Pick Up the Weights, where we want to work through that church, to that community, to pull them back together, man, because we need spirituality. And one of the biggest things that really bothers me, we're talking about people getting compensated for death, is, I'm going to get in trouble for this one.
No, you ain't.
I really, really, really will. I'm going to get in trouble. I hate, this is one of the things that I hate. You hear mothers, some mothers, that are screaming from the top of the mountain about what happened, and their son. No, nobody's son should be killed, murdered, in any way, shape, or form. But if you got a 13-year-old kid that just stole a car, and it's 2:30 in the morning,
exactly,
and he got shot, my first question that I want to ask is this: where in the hell were you at to have a 13-year-old kid out at past 12 o'clock? Because when we grew up, my mama told us anything after 12 won't no good business.
Right.
So there's a lot of parents that can help us with these calls.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? There's a
No,
lot of parents can be parents and not be at the bar, not be drinking, smoking weed, and be there for their kids when they're 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. When those impressive years and the years that their brain is live. And when they're 27, when they're 21, 22, 23, and they find themselves in incredible conditions, it's somebody else to blame. I hate that.
Exactly. As we police the police, we must police ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
We have to police ourselves.
We don't have community. We don't have community no more. Because I'm gonna tell you, at 7, 8, 9, if I was out in the street, somebody on another block was calling my mom or coming, grabbing me and taking me home. You like you understand what I'm saying?
Holla.
Yeah, there was no hanging out, and there was no hanging out. Somebody else's parent was grabbing me
taking
out.
Accountability for your butt.
Right,
exactly.
right.
Respect.
Exactly.
Now, you remember back in the day when grandmama was 62, mama was 40, the daughter was 18, and the baby was over 5. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? I'm only 5 years older than you. You know what I'm talking about. Mama, grand now is 36. The daughter 24. Hear me again. Grandmama, grand is 36. The daughter 24. The youngin 12, and she got a 2-month-old baby.
Right.
Exactly.
And grandmama's still going to the club, so she can't babysit.
Grandma going to the club with the daughter.
Yeah. So man. So that whole dynamic of that respect factor and that mothering, that grand is non-existent anymore.
Right. Exactly.
And that's our fault. Like, we can blame. There's a lot of things. We blame everything on the white man, blame everything on the Republicans, or whatever. There's a lot of things we need to do in our community. There's a lot of things we need to take back control of. There's a lot of things. If you see something, say something. Like, I saw 2 weeks ago. Oh, I didn't tell Damon the story. 2 weeks ago, I'm sitting on my porch, and I'm seeing these kids on one side of the street and the other side of the street. They're not from my block. I don't know where they're from. And they get to the middle of the street, and they start fighting, and all their friends are videotaping it. And I'm sitting there, and they're doing this like almost in front of the house next door. And I'm yelling, yo, y'all ain't gonna do that here. You know what I'm saying? I break it up, whatever. After they stop, the girl comes on my side walking past, and she asks her friend, yo, let me see the video and see how I did. Like, she just performed on stage or something. She was fighting. I'm like, yo, that's like, she was acting like she just performed or something. Like, yo, let me see how I did. Show me the video. And I'm sitting here like, yo, this is an issue. Now, I can't say they didn't go down the block and fight, but I had to let them know they wasn't going to do that in front of me. They wasn't doing that here. Like, that wasn't okay here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
everything's acceptable now. Remember when we were kids, if you were feeling a certain way, you wouldn't let us 3 big brothers know that way.
That's right.
You kept that on down the road.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because there was some action. There was some repercussion and some consequences.
I had to go out of town. I had to go out of my neighborhood. I had to go out of my neighborhood.
Exactly.
And now everything's accepted. Oh my God, y'all. I'm sorry, but I gotta go here. How can you let 2 people win the medal in Olympic boxing in the middleweight division, and they both was born
and
they were born not as ladies?
You gonna get us cut off.
Is that real talk for the community? This is the show that ain't afraid.
No, I was thinking he was going to go there, but I'm like, he ain't going there.
Man, I had to do it, man. I had to do it. Now, wait. Let me explain myself. Let me get myself off the hook, okay? Cheryl Miller was the baddest basketball player in the world.
Absolutely.
Remember, Flo Hyman, the volleyball player when we were kids. Diana Taurasi, Cynthia Cooper. They fought for years and years and years to get women's sports so they could get compensated. Think about that. They make $248,000 a game for a season.
Right.
Play basketball for a season. LeBron James makes $248,000 a game.
Per game.
Is it fair for women to have to fight the way they have fought to get their sports popular enough so they can get paid? Remember the Jamaican track star that produced so much estrogen that they wouldn't let her run?
Right.
She was born a girl. Now, I don't think it's fair for them to have transgenders competing in the sports for women if you weren't born a woman.
I think it's and I'll be honest, and I know some people, I'm looking at the thread, some people are getting upset. We're not talking about the police brutality. We're talking about fairness against women. At the end of the day,
I'm gonna be listen. As a father of a daughter, I would have a problem.
One person said that those boxers was born female, but with high testosterone. That's what somebody from Facebook said.
Well, I'm sorry if they had too much testosterone. I'm sorry. But the butt whooping they were giving those people, a lot of people thought they weren't.
Well, let me finish. I'm going to say this is how I feel. As the father of a daughter, my daughter will be 35 this year, but as a father of a daughter, I would have a problem if my daughter was in high school basketball or a track or something like that.
And Bronny James
and someone who was born a boy who now identifies as a girl was playing with her in the sport. It's not fair. I mean, I would have a problem with that. And this is not about being transphobic.
No.
It's not about wait. And I'm speaking as a father. It's not being about transphobic. It's not about being homophobic.
My son's gay.
I'm not saying that people can't feel how they feel and identify how they identify, but as far as boys who were born boys playing in girls' sports against girls, like you could take the wackest male player in the NBA,
and he's better than
and put him in the WNBA, and he might be scoring 50 points a game. You know, and that's an unfair advantage, you know, body size and all that other stuff. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because I want to go back to the police academy.
I reckon the reason why I bring these points up is because with what we do for fighting for people, we fight for people in all aspects.
Exactly.
So I just don't fight for police brutality. I just don't fight for gun violence. I fight for domestic violence. I fight for missing children. It's a fight that I've been given an opportunity to fight for every wrongdoing in this world, man. Because when you fight, you can't pick and choose where you fight. I fight for the righteousness. I fight for people that don't have a voice. So that was just one of those things that just bothered me.
And you're absolutely right. And for all the ladies that are upset, this is not misogyny. If you had a daughter who trained all her life to go to Olympics in whatever one-on-one sport, and she gets there and she's playing against a man, how would you feel? That's all I have to say.
Ladies, I got 12 sisters.
How would you feel?
I got 12 sisters. They put my mama a wig on me. I thought I was going to be born a certain way with 12 sisters putting makeup and lipstick on me. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
You know, I can feel in all the aspects. But just like maybe I feel too much about things, you know, because man, when you've gone through all the things and trials and tribulations I've gone through, and you see bad things happen, you know, I had a neo-Nazi march in my 60 miles from where I live. For true success in a society, prepare for the coming attacks of our leaders. How do we be leaders? We lead by example. We lead by not giving up, by not fighting. I mean, by not quitting. Reality is, because there's so many people that have quit on us.
That's right.
In our life. There's so many people that have taken the dollar versus using their impact to make change.
That's right.
Prime example. I know a lot of people that have been literally talked into taking dollars instead of using that impact to make a difference.
That's right.
And I see that all the time.
Absolutely.
People will come. Matter of fact, I'm not going to call any names, but I know a young lady got $1.3 million 6 months ago. They jumped in the car. They thought her baby threw out his baby threw out a crack pipe. She was sitting in her car seat in the back. Threw the piece of paper out. The police officer come on the scene. The baby's in the back seat. His girlfriend on the back seat passenger. The police gets there, jumps out of his car. While the officer was talking to the young man, he jumped in the back of the car, puts 2 bullets in the back of his head in a matter of seconds. They said to the mother, if you don't take this offer that we're giving you when we go to court, you're probably not going to get nothing. Most people hear that dollar amount and they think, wow, that's a lot of money. Well, guess what? I talked to her the other day. And she said, Uncle Selwyn, I should have listened to you. The fight is worth more than any dollar you can get. Simple. She got $1.3 million by the time she paid a lawyer. She paid taxes. The boy had 4 kids. She got $40,000 to raise his daughter with. And that's because they put pressure on you because they know they did wrong. So what do? They want to shut you up. And a lot of people are thinking, hey, this could help and change my life. When what we want to change is the world. We want to change the way people think. We want to change the way people police. We want to change the way people deal with people of color and deal with people of all races. And for us to throw our hands up and say, okay, we'll accept this because most people ain't never had any things. Police brutality is mainly affected in the marginalized communities.
That's right.
Because why? They put the alcohol, they put the drugs, they put all of these things there that they know that are going to be present. So what do? It's just like going to a catfish pond that's big as a bathtub, literally. So we have to change our mindset and how we do things and how we think and how we feel. You know, because I don't know, but my mama told me if what you do sometimes is what you do all the time. So we need to change a lot of mindsets in this world. I've created an app that's called MythCop. And what it is, it's an interactive app that if you are in any dire stress, you have a contact list. You have 2 contacts that you have as your emergency contacts. When your baby goes to college and you're worried about where she is, if she gets herself in a bad situation, she push the panic button. It connects to her 2 emergency contacts. GPS comes up so you'll know where she is. You know, you're able to send messages. You're able to slow. It's a prevention measure to slow that attention down that police officers give certain people. Because do y'all know this story? Hello? 10 and 2. 10 and 2. Yes, sir. No, yes. Sir. No, yes. Sir. Yes, sir. That's wrong. And we're programmed in our brain that we have to think that way because if not, we run a 75% chance of getting shot. Think about that. Have you ever literally thought about we have to have conversations with our babies of what not to do? Because our parents had to have conversations with us what not to do.
You know, I wanted to thank you, brother. I wanted to address Jennifer, with all due respect, you saying that the hormones that trans women take to transition make them lose muscle mass and gain fat. They cannot fairly compete in men's sports. We're not talking about competing in men's sports. We're talking about trans women competing in women's sports.
Women's sports.
And the National Library of Medicine. This is the National Library of Medicine. It says the male the male body cannot be reformatted by estrogen therapy in trans women athletes because the testosterone has driven permanent effects through the early cycles of life. So, and plus, when you're working out, you're building muscle, and men have a more dense bone structure than women. So we're not saying women shouldn't compete. I'm not against, if you want to be a trans woman, you could be a trans woman. But I do feel it's an unfair advantage against regular women. That's all I'm saying. It's not
I'm sorry I opened this gate.
It's not about having an expert talk about it. I mean, it's in the National Library of Medicine. So, I mean, they have a report, and you want me, I will place the report in there, right? This is from the National Library of Medicine. So the only thing I'm saying is I feel personally, it's an unfair advantage towards women. For
people that were born male to
exactly
play in female sports. That's all I was talking about. That's what I was talking about.
Fairness for women.
We're talking about.
Exactly.
The unjustification of a race.
And you know what?
Of a gender.
People need to talk to the young girl in Connecticut that trained all her life. You know, people need to talk to them young girls that didn't get scholarships. I mean, there's a lot of reports about it. So we need to openly have that conversation. Whether them girls over there had high testosterone or not. But the issue has been around allowing men who grew up men and then they still train and then they fight women. And they fight women.
You would not have a transgender man wanting to compete.
We're not talking about women. We're not talking about women competing against men.
Talking about women competing against women.
But you know, and that's just a debate that's going to constantly go on because you're going to have people from both sides argue the fact.
Man, I'm sorry. I'll take it back.
No.
They should have let them win the medal. They should have let them win the medal.
So no, it's all good. But I do want to focus. I want to get back into our original conversation.
Okay.
With civil rights and community change and police accountability, because that's something that we're all fighting for. I know we lost a couple of viewers and they tuned off, and it's a shame. And I'm gonna say this, and I hope they see this video later. It's a shame. In a conversation like this, you need to watch the whole show in its entirety. You're not going to agree with everything on the show, but we need to continue to watch the show. You know what I'm saying? Like the problem, if just because you don't agree with something, you don't turn it off or whatever. Like, I mean, nobody here is disparaging anybody. You know what I'm saying? So and for all of those, and at least one of the persons has been with us for 10 years and knows our character. So you know what I'm saying? You know that we're not about that. So you know what I'm saying? So that's all I want to say, and we're gonna move on from the topic altogether because that isn't what we was here to talk about. But I'm disappointed that some of y'all decided to turn off and a small piece of the conversation, and you will miss the rest of the conversation. That's all I have to say. But my brother, I want to applaud you in the work that you do, and unfortunately, you have become a member of a club that you never wanted to be in.
Oh no! You
didn't ask to be a member of this club.
This is a horrific club.
But as a member of the club, and I again use my brother Kenneth Chamberlain, who I've witnessed stand with all the other members that come afterwards and embrace them and stand there and sometimes guide them. Shout to Rodney Bynum, whose cousin was killed by the New Rochelle Police Department. I know Kenneth Chamberlain spoke to them. And ironically, and I always want to make this point too, because all things are local. In New Rochelle, Jarrell Garris was the second person killed by the New Rochelle Police Department, black guy killed in New Rochelle, since George Floyd. In that city. The first one happened a week or two. Matter of fact, the first one, Hendo's brother, I can't think of his name right now. The New Rochelle was just out having a march, a rally for George Floyd, and this happened the next day. So this is like a week or so after George Floyd. Didn't get a lot of attention because the George Floyd thing overshadowed everything. But this is the second shooting by the New Rochelle Police Department of a black man since George Floyd. George Floyd was supposed to be the thing in a whole lot of people's minds that was changing everything. That was supposed to be, and we're still having these conversations.
People are getting arrested at more of a rapid pace, obviously, because of cameras.
Kamal Flowers. I'm sorry. Kamal Flowers, the young man whose name I couldn't remember. I always want to say his name. Yes. But
people are getting arrested more since the George Floyd effect. But I tell people all the time, I fight for the George Floyds that weren't on television 10,000 times a day.
Right.
I fight for the Kwame McDonald's. I fight for the Alteric Pleasants. I fight for the Mona Green's son, Reginald Green, that got shot 6 times at an IHOP. I fight for Glenn Foster Jr., that was a New Orleans Saints football player that got killed in jail. That's what I fight for, y'all, because I can never get my big sister's baby boy back. But what I can do is I can use what he left me and how he died for that 9 minutes and 29 seconds to fight for everybody else that wasn't named George Floyd. I can and I've gotten people's cases that qualified immunity was prominent. We have fought for those cases and got those cases back in court because of my relentless pursuit of change.
Good.
Because I can't get my nephew back. But I can is I can move forward with what he left me, and he left me the opportunity to open my mouth and say something stupid that I probably shouldn't say sometimes. But and I'm sorry once again, but he gave me an opportunity to be able to shout their names and be able to. Sometimes, man, I've been to people's houses and I didn't say a word. I don't have to say a word because I feel that pain. And like you said, this club that we're in, it's a death club. Everybody is here because somebody got murdered in their family or somebody died in their family. And to look into somebody's eyes, a mother's eyes, that won't ever have another birthday party.
That's right.
There's an empty chair at Christmas dinner because somebody decided that they had a bad day and they would be judge, jury, and executioner. One of my big thought processes, I think a police officer, and you know this, XCO, y'all got mental health training once a year. Right. If you get into any encounter with any suspect and any physical variety, I think you should have a mental health assessment every week to every month until you get that trauma off you. Because trauma is within; it doesn't come from the outside in; it comes from the inside out.
Brother, I agree with you, but and we talked about this extensively with politicians. The scariest thing about the scariest thing about it is, well, corrections, we get mental health, we get crisis intervention training. Okay. A lot of police don't.
No.
A lot of police departments do not do it. So that's something that's very that's very important. And what they did was they in New York, and I'm going to specifically talk about New York, when they begin to close down the mental health facilities, and use the police to deal with those mental health people that was out in the street. So then you get the incidences of these shootings and these beatings of mental health people because the police are not trained to do the job.
90% of mental health calls ended in violence.
Mm-hmm.
Us being black, when the police walk up on the scene on us, we automatically get anxious.
Exactly.
We get scared.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Now, suppose
Exactly.
I'm having a mental health crisis and you see that gun and that badge, that's the first thing they see. And the first thing in the brain, I'm going to get hurt.
That's right.
I've known people, Justin Root was having a mental health crisis in Boston, Massachusetts, and got shot 47 times. He took himself to the hospital to get mental health assistance. The security guard ran him out because he said that he was being too unruly. They called the police on him, and they killed him.
Mm.
The young man in Philadelphia that got right after George got murdered, they had been there 2 days before to talk to him, and they came back and he had a butter knife.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
they're criminalizing a mental health crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And prime example, I know somebody in the last couple of weeks. They had a son. He was trying to hurt himself. And he cut himself, arm got infected and all this other stuff. And they called me Uncle Selwyn. What do you do? Well, you're going to have to get some kind of mental health intervention. Well, let's, take him to the hospital, get him fixed up and see what they say. Well, we can't admit him unless he tried to hurt somebody. What? You can't call the police and tell the police that he's hurting himself and you're fearful of what he's going to do to himself, and they won't come to arrest him and take him to and get a mental assessment. They won't do it because they say they don't have the budget. But yet, if he were to slap somebody, they'd be glad to lock him up for assault. Think about that. They're criminalizing mental health issues so they can lock you in jail, give you no help, but have you work release to make the prison $1,000, $1,500 a month that goes back into the system, and they give you $40 a month for canteen and toilet paper and stuff, and the cycle continues to go. Because if you plant a tree in a little bitty bucket, guess how big that tree's going to grow? It's going to grow a little bitty tree. But if you take that tree out of that bucket and spread its wings and give it some help and some fertilizer, it'll grow into being a wonderful big tree. And that's what a lot of people haven't done for people with the mental health issues, is let them grow. So how do we fix that? So we can talk about this all day long, but there's so many complications, there's so many trials and tribulations and things that we got to go through as being people, as being men, as being women, as being black men, black women, white men, white women. So there's always something that happens every day that we could change. And the only way we change those things is to stick together and come to a common ground that we as leaders want to make an impact and a difference in this world that we live in. Because that group that we're in, that I'm in, every time I call somebody or every time I see somebody, they have a broken heart. That's one of the reasons why me getting the church involved is important to me. Because, I'm probably going to get in trouble with this too. It's a shame when you go to a funeral and the dollar amount is justice. When they talk about the dollar amount.
Exactly.
You gotta get
Exactly.
Just that, these people need to be locked up in jail, and we need to get compensation. Right. I hate that. What about that grief counseling from that pastor, that minister?
Exactly.
What about that spiritual awareness that you get? What about that old thing when they used to do when we were kids, when you opened your arms and gave somebody a hug and you felt like they cared? Because now, the only way people care, and I say this so much, you'll have people that'll call me 2-3 years after, how you doing, Uncle? So I'll call them. I'll send out Christmas cards. How you doing, buddy? Just thinking about you. What's going on with you? Uncle Selwyn, the lawyer took all my money. Or, I had some friends that I thought were some friends that did this to me. And you know what? All I could do is just pray and think, hey, man, you know what? Everybody that appears to be your friend ain't your friend. Everybody,
That's right.
your enemy ain't your enemy. And
That's
you
right.
have no moral obligation to take care of nobody that doesn't look like you or live with you.
Absolutely. One of the things you just said, so I went to Eric Garner's funeral again, like 2 months in.
With my girl, I'll be in New York on the 13th, so we need to hook up and do lunch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm sitting there, and I'm introduced to Amadou Diallo's mom and a lot of the other mothers. And wait. And then when talking to them, I'm writing this article afterwards, and I'm like when you lose a family member at the hands of law enforcement, and then every time you see it happen again, I described it as like this little paper cut that never really heals. Every time an incident happens, you bump that paper, and it opens up more, and it opens up more to the point that it's now a big gash that requires stitches. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I got from just being around all these mothers and hearing them, and all the family members hearing them. That's how I described it.
Bro, I can name off the top of my head probably 50, 60 people that I know just off the top of my dome in New York City. I can name 50 or 60 people all over the country that are in each state. So, the crazy part about this is when I could name 50 or 60 people that have entered this club that I'm in, and you know about this. Do you know what that number is when it comes down to wrongfully convicted?
Oh, no, it's in the millions.
Oh, my God. But think about this, y'all. How can the smallest population on the planet, which is African Americans, 42.5 million of us, think about that, 42.5 million of us, commit 40% of the world crime?
Exactly.
How is that?
Exactly.
How is that? How can 42.4% of the people, 42 million, commit 40% of the world crime? And that's 7.8 billion people. Something's going wrong with this picture. Something's big wrong with this picture. So, as I said, we can go through this all day, every day. And what I know is this is there's a lot of beautiful queens in this world that I've met throughout this journey, and I got to give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
A mother's first true love is her son.
That's right.
And a son's first true love
is his mother.
Is his mother.
Yep.
There's a lot of mothers, sadly, that are fighting their butt off for something they'll never get back.
That's right.
That is their babies. Yolanda McNair, Detroit, Michigan. Mm-hmm. Her daughter, Deja Miller, was at a party with 35 people. 35 people, 35. Out of that 35 people, 32 of them were police. And there were no witnesses to a murder. Think about it. 35 people at a party, 32 of them police. There was no witnesses. But the wife and the husband separated a week later. So the system has been corrupt. The system has its faults. Police officers aren't bad. It's the ones that are bad, the ones that are disrespecting, the ones that are killing, the ones that are destroying people's families are the ones that we don't want to have a job. Because the reality is, we have a hard enough time as black and brown people negotiating life.
That's right.
Why do we need to have that one thrown into the fire, man? You know, they say that the Lord won't put no more on us than we can bear. But let me tell you something. The plate runneth over. The plate has runneth over for a long, long, long time, y'all. And all I am is a vessel.
Wow.
Like I said, we have a podcast called Setting It Straight with Selwyn. We're coming out with this Myth app that's going to change the game. That's going to it's a prevention app, and it's also an accountability app. It's just like you got its NPT and these security ring on your doorbell. Well, we're going to put a Myth Cop sticker on your car and let them know when they walk through your car, this car is protected. This car is protected. So don't try any funny stuff, because you know how many deaths we get by accident, you know, by police stopping a car. Why you got to stop my car? Because it's at night and you can't see my tail lights.
Right.
Why? How can you tell me, Dexter Reed Jr., that you couldn't see inside his car, but yet the windows on your car is darker than the windows on my car? And that's a reason why to shoot somebody 96 times in 41 seconds. So there's always excuses made of why the tragedy happened. Excuses are easy to make. Qualified immunity helps those excuses continue, and the deaths continue. So, you know, man, like I said, it is a situation that we're going to keep fighting, that we have to fight as brothers, as fathers, as uncles.
That's right. That's right.
Brothers, cousins, because this ain't going to change, man. This will not change unless we put our foot down to create change.
Shout out to Nancy K. Maldonado. She lost her son.
Hey, Nancy, how you doing, sis?
Hi, Miss Nancy.
At the hands of the Greenberg Police Department.
When?
What year was that, Nancy?
2017,
2017, 20, somewhere around there.
Has she had justice?
No.
Not yet. No.
Okay. You have my email, right?
I have George. What's the guy who connected us? George?
That's my publicist.
Okay, George has.
Okay, write my email down. Uncle Selwyn Jones. It's simple.
Nancy, if you can, write it down or we'll send it to you.
Uncle Selwyn, SELWYN Jones, JONS at gmail.com. Miss Nancy, hit me up on my email and tell me what's going on. Tell me what happened. And I'm affiliated with, 15, 20 lawyers, including all the ones that keep things relevant.
She has a lawyer.
She has a lawyer in the family.
Yeah, she's just been fighting. Been fighting.
Okay, well, hey, you know what? Hit me up still. I'll be glad to come down to show my support, and I'll bring a crowd, because people make changes when change happens. Unfortunately, people always say, man, why do people got to riot? Why people got to act like a fool? Guess what? Communication, conversation, irritation, and motivation. And sometimes you got to irritate people to make people move. Sometimes you got to piss people off to make people move. Because think about this, y'all. If the world wouldn't had came together and raised hell for those 3 days, George Floyd would be just another dead black man.
That's right.
He would have been just another, well, you know the word they would have used.
Yeah, exactly.
Just another dead nigga.
Just another nigga dead. Yes.
Just another dead nigga. Drug addict. That's what he would have been. And that's what a lot of people depict black people are. We listen to rap, we eat chicken, watermelon, you know what I'm saying? We shoot, we gangbang.
Exactly.
Yep. So man, we gotta change the thing that we can change and the thing that we can't. I tell people all the time, if you don't want to hear what I gotta say, that's fine. I'm not twisting anybody's arm.
That's right.
People that want to be liberated and want to hear the true story of somebody that grew up with no indoor plumbing or no running water, that has been fighting his butt off and don't know how to quit. I'm like that old mule, man. I'm gonna keep walking up that hill. The difference between the old days and the young days is, the young cow said, "Hey, Dad, let's run down the hill." Dad said, no, let's walk down that hill.
That's
You know
right.
So I'm doing a lot of walking now, man. I don't need to run
That's
anymore. And I always, I have an 8-year-old. What do you think about that, old man? And a 10-year-old. Oh,
God bless you, brother.
yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah. He's just like his dad.
Look, I only got grandkids. I ain't making no more, man.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that mess. I don't hear that. I hate it when people in their mid-50s tell me that, man. I got grandkids. So do I. So do I. My grandkids is younger than my baby's younger than my grandkids, man. But hey, man, listen. I'm just following what my mama taught me. I was the baby out of 17 kids. Okay, man.
Wow.
My oldest sister would have been 85 years old. She passed and went to heaven. My oldest sister right now is 83 years old. So I've got people that are from 83, 82, 80. A lot of them in the 70s. I got like 13 children living. And the closest one to me is my sister in Minneapolis. She's 62. Is Angela Harrison's age, by the way. Just had to give a shout out to Angela Harrison. George Floyd Memorial, 62. Anyhow, I always dog them, man, because they get to leave. They leave me for 4 years. Man. I'm running in my 50s I got 2 more years to hang here. You know what I'm saying? Then I got to stay with them until I get 66, and then they going over that 70 mark. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, you know, so they old. I call them all old. I just tell them quick, man. No, we went through my older sister died, and then I had another sister die. And I told them, I was like, hey, listen here. They always coming to the baby. Baby, you know, we're a little short. You know that things happen. Okay, cool. I got to do what I can do because my mama raised a good baby.
That's right.
And then I'm sitting there and everybody's around, everybody throwing in some money. You know, black folks in insurance, sometimes that's a little lacking. They're throwing in some money. And it always got funny because they come up with $200 or $300, and I had to come up with $8,000 or $9,000. And you know, and they would say, "Man, well, we gonna get this collection up." And I get there, and I'd be like, "Where the money at?" Well, man, we had to get ties, and we had to get some milk, we had to get some shoes for the baby. Okay, so what we did is we came to this. I sent everybody a memo. Those that don't have insurance need to contact Uncle Selwyn and his wife, and we will make sure that if we have to take care of that policy, we'll take care of it. So
that's right.
Ongoing, because reality was, I'm gonna pay for it anyhow. Why not pay for it? You know,
why not just do the insurance? Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's cheaper what you're gonna pay in insurance. Than
yeah. You know, man, but yeah. I'm telling you, my sister wants the hats with the flowers. Man, come on now. You go with me, I'm not gonna put no hat on you with no bird on it. You know what I'm saying? Because we ain't hatching biddies. I got a lot of crazy sisters, man. So know,
brother,
man.
Brother, you're gonna be in New York for the.
I've got to go to LA. I got to be in LA on the 13th. So I'll fly into O'Hara on the 14th, and I will stay until the 17th.
O'Hara, Chicago?
No, not Chicago, LaGuardia.
Okay.
I know.
In New York.
Yeah, I know Miss Garner. She's doing a function.
That's where I'm going.
Oh, I'm going to see you there. I'll be there.
Are you?
Yeah. I'll be there.
Guess who's sitting at my table?
Who?
Guess who?
I give up.
Gwen.
Oh, okay.
When you talk to her, brother, tell her you met Brother Damon Jones from Westchester.
I will, man. That's my girl, man. That's my girl. She called me. I love her. I love her to death. Baby, are you coming to my gala? I like, girl, I don't know. I was thinking I had her down in Boston. Hey, please forgive me, thou I have sinned. Miss Gwen is a beautiful young lady, 72 years old. She don't need to be drinking no fuzzy name. I had her laughing. I had her rolling, son. I had her rolling.
Nah, that's my girl, man.
Uncle Selwyn, what was in that? Oh, that was just punch, baby. That was just.
You stupid.
So
yeah, we was up here fighting the menthol ban, and she came up to Westchester
A couple of times.
And
wait, stop, time out. What do you mean fight the menthol ban?
because they was trying to ban
They
menthol cigarettes without banning all cigarettes.
Yeah, menthol cigarettes and like if you're gonna ban cigarettes. But they were banning menthol cigarettes that black people smoke.
Hello?
Yeah.
Don't you realize that tobacco makes cigarettes? And it don't matter whether it's menthol or non-menthol.
But that's
And they were saying, exactly.
So it came up in our county, and we was fought against it, and then we were brought up to the Damon and I were asked to go up to the state when the state was considering to Albany when the state was considering it use the ban, and we spoke on what happened in Westchester, and they've been doing this little by little all over the country. I think in some states they actually have the ban. I can't remember what states they were. They actually have the ban.
I think Massachusetts
got it. DC's got it.
DC got it. Okay. Yeah. We got a veto in Westchester. We the only ones with the help of sisters. She came up a couple of times, and the county exec up here vetoed the legislation.
Let me tell you. I was in Chicago, and I bought me a couple packs of cigarettes. I didn't smoke sometimes because I'm nervous.
Yeah.
And I gave out of my cigarettes, and I go to the little bitty little thing in the motel, and I'm going there, and I'm like, Marlboro menthol. Like, we don't have any of those. I'm like, okay, to be sure not. She's like, no, we don't. You don't. This can't sell menthol. And then she told me a pack of cigarettes with $22.50.
A pack of cigarettes.
And I told her right out the rip, I ain't smoking no more. Damn it, I quit.
Where was this at?
It's in DC.
What?
Yeah. My wife would put the boot up my butt if I paid $22 for something that's going to kill me. $22 at the motel. And I'm thinking, man, y'all getting over on people. Your rooms are dirty. You ain't got no coffee in your room. You got one towel, and it was raggedy. Man, you trying to... Anyhow. I ain't calling the name of the motel. Not going to do it.
So yeah, that's so we worked with her with that, and Damon also worked with
So what do y'all do? What do y'all do in your real time? In your real job?
This is what I do 24/7.
I'm retired now, man. It's been a year. I retired.
I'm the editor in chief, and like your phone rings, like you were talking about your phone rings. Anything that happens in Westchester and the surrounding area,
write my number down.
Injustice.
I'll write my number down.
Write it down, AJ, because
605 867-9305.
All right.
605-545-6699.
Oh, he took you serious with that another number, man.
Wait, go ahead. Now you got to do that again because I wrote
God.
I wrote the first number down, man. What the heck?
Oh my God.
But I got the email address, so I was going to get you. But go ahead. What's the number?
You really just write down 867-5309. I got it. I got your number off the wall.
Okay. So was you singing Prince songs for me? What's that?
No, it was the Mechanics. 867-5309. Yeah. Every time somebody asks me for my number, that's what I look at. I look at them and go like 867-5309. Anyhow, 605-545-6699.
Gotcha.
Y'all call me, man, because
I got the email.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got your email address. I'll send you our contact information too.
But yeah, man, I will see you there on the 14th.
Yeah.
And somebody told me I couldn't wear white after Memorial Day, but I think I'm gonna try.
Coming in white, man.
I think I'm gonna try.
I think I might do this powder blue.
Let me tell you. Did you see Stephen A. Smith with that. Oh my God. Lavender.
Yes.
Woo!
Yeah.
I got me one coming, baby. I got me one coming. I'm thinking light skin and lavender, pink shirt.
Yeah, he's a sharp dresser. He be pushing the
Yeah,
levels.
yeah, he's doing it.
Yeah, man. But you know
The
what?
colors and everything. Yeah.
You know what? Stephen A. He needs to stop
Well, yeah.
because he's gonna mess up, and Terrell Owens gonna catch him. Terrell Owens tell him again. He's like, "Listen, buddy, just because you got your nose up people's ass don't mean nothing. You ain't never played no ball. You got cut off your college basketball team, and you keep putting salt on my mouth, on my name. And I see you. We're gonna see what kind of heart you got."
Yeah, it's gonna go.
I remember Terrell Owens beat up Hugh Douglas, which was a defensive tackle for Philadelphia. Just won't be none of that Chris Rock.
Will Smith.
It won't be none of that. It won't be none of that. Let me tell you something. Terrell a monster, so it won't be none of that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man.
He used to fight with linebackers and people trying to take him down, like big 300-pound dudes. He used to.
Hugh Douglas was an all-pro defensive tackle.
Yeah.
And when he was laying out in the driveway doing sit-ups and stuff, and Hugh Douglas said, "Man, why don't you stop acting like a bee and play football?" And my boy Terrell Owens said, "I'll tell you what you do. If you step in the back, I will show you what a bee is." And you know what? Mano a mano. You can't be scared.
Right.
He went 220. He went 285. Anyhow, Terrell Owens, Terrell Owens would put knots on his head faster than he could rub them off.
Amazing.
And Hugh Douglas admitted that that's probably the worst butt whooping he's had, man to man. So yeah, Stephen A. Smith, his hairline will be back here. Oh my God, man!
He need to cut it off. He just need to go bald. He need to go.
I know,
bald.
man. Oh no, what do you think about Fred Brown from NBC Sports? He's back here too. He on CBS on Sunday. He's back here too, man.
And then some of them be drawing it in. They be drawing the hairline.
Oh, no, dog. Let me tell you. I was GQ Man of the Year 2020. If you look at GQ, GQ Man of the Year magazine, I was, your boy was there. You can pull that up. Uncle Selwyn. You pull it up, partner. Anyhow, I had on this tight sweater, and, you know, I was a little husky back then if you were to pull that picture up. So I had to keep my arm down because if I'd have lifted my arm, that the shirt would have come to my elbows. It was so tight.
Right.
Anyhow, but before we did that, we lined me up with that black stuff. You know, that fake hair. They spray some glue and then they spray it on your head. Man, look at me. I won't look at natural, man. I won't look at natural because when you sweat, it was just like that Jericho juice back in the 80s. Remember that? But it was black lines licking down the middle of my forehead. I'm light skinned too. So, man, it was, boy, when you do that and that black stuff just wipe off your head, and then you had like one light spot and you move it all to one side. Yeah, that stuff ain't right. You can't touch yourself. You looking at that, boss man? You see that picture?
Yeah, Valuable Men. Black fathers talk about losing sons to police brutality. GQ magazine.
All right.
Yeah.
December 10th, 2020.
People be like, ugly. People be like, you don't want up there. Yes, I was.
December 10th, 2020. Yep.
You see that line? See that line they had on me?
Yeah.
That was bad, son. I washed my hair for 3 weeks. I looked like a leopard. It was black here, gray here, little light skin there where I'm bald at. Oh yeah, man. I couldn't go out for a month, man. Yeah, it was bad. I don't advise you if you're in the hair care.
You ain't gotta worry about that, brother.
Mr. Clean, boy. That's man.
You ain't gotta worry about that, man.
I have a rather large head too, by the way. You know, people in podcast land, this is what Uncle Selwyn has to do. Because reality is, I could cry every day.
That's right.
Absolutely.
When I close my eyes and I think about the ways of the world.
That's
when I close my eyes and I think about the pain that my nephew was going through.
Mm-hmm.
Pain that Ahmaud Arbery went through. I know Marcus Arbery. I talk to him quite regularly. I talk to Gwen, and it doesn't matter. Sometimes when you're sitting down talking to these people, and I'm one of these people. I just like, how are you feeling? What's going on? And I get the same thing said to me numerous times. I miss my baby, and I'll be the first to tell you, I cannot feel the way a mother feels. I cannot feel the way a daddy feels, because obviously you can see what we're dealing with here. This is how George Floyd was. We were born poor, so laughter laughter's free. You remember the old days, man? Your head, you got Don King mom in a headlock. She got so much hair on her armpits and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Laughter was free.
That's right.
Laughter was free, man. So we learned how to make ourselves laugh and feel good about having a hungry belly. I honestly thought for many, many, many years in my life, when my mama should drink water before you go to bed, I thought she told me to drink water so I wouldn't have a dry throat. I didn't realize that she was telling me that so my stomach wouldn't be.
That's right.
So, I refuse to succumb to the system in life. I refuse to have to feel sorrow and pain every day, because you make that decision whether you want to have a good day or whether you want to have a bad day. Mm-hmm. Most of my days are filled with confusion because somebody will call me every night because somebody got murdered. And my wife said, man, you know what? We're going to have to get you some therapy or something, man, because that's a lot for one person to take.
Yeah.
Man. And
having a podcast is very therapeutic.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's always, I do my podcast, when I gotta be straight. You know what I'm saying? I can't say bad words, and I don't say bad words anyhow. But a lot of things I want to say I can't say, because Revolver Media will be like, ixnay.
Right.
And all I want to do is have that voice heard.
That's right.
I ain't had a voice. You're talking about somebody's son that was locked up in jail, and granted, it ain't supposed to be Club Med, but you're not supposed to die.
That's right.
You go and visit your baby on a Saturday, and he's in a slammer cell where there's nothing in there, and he hung himself with his underwear. How does that work?
Exactly.
You weren't in the prison before. Them the cheapest thing. Them barely napkins over your butt. Exactly. How can you hang yourself with napkins? And another thing is, how can the state get paid $50,000 a year, and you got to wear another man's underwear and socks? When he leave, why don't they take them old things with them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I never understood that.
I know. In my facility, every 30 days, they gave 3 underwears, 3 pair of socks, and 3 t-shirts.
Every 30 days, but you wore them other 3 for a whole month.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, and think about this. The slave patrol. That's what police.
That's it.
Thing was. Their job was to catch black folks, bring them back
and they still doing their mission statement.
And they're still doing that mission statement. You figure if we could come up with $250 million, we could be worth $10 billion in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that, man. So the old days, it was the chain gang. Now it's prison.
That's
because
right.
What would, in some form, a part of life, they either killed you, they either lynched you, they either put you in the chain gang. Now they put you in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Mm-hmm. It's to make states richer. Think about
absolutely.
it. The state gets paid by the federal government let's say $40,000 a year, but you get work release. They don't give them a break. And if your minimum wage is $15, you're gonna make $15. 40 hours a week, that's $650. I reckon my math is right. I don't know, but they give you $40 a month. That's over $2,000 a month that goes back into the prison off your back.
That's right.
Now you see why they over sentence people.
That's right.
Why are people still in jail when marijuana legal in their state?
See, we don't know how important it is to come out. Like, we get caught up on the presidential. I get that, but we don't come out for the district attorney, our local district attorney. Black folks don't understand how important that position is in their community to show out and show up in the voting box for a district attorney that's going to be for accountability and fairness in the justice system.
The lieutenant governor is the most important person in a state.
That too.
Because anytime you file anything against the police, it's got to go by that lieutenant governor's office. It has to. District attorneys, this medical civil rights bill that I'm pushing, and people ask me, "What about the George Floyd policing bill?" Guess what? My family, and I'll say this, it is what it is. You've seen a lot of family members of mine following some people around to get elected. We don't see anybody. We don't see any of those people anymore. The only person you see is me out here on the front line.
Wow.
Hey, it is what it is, man.
Wow.
You want to trade a car for being able to make a change? That's on you. I don't care.
Wow.
But the people promised that they would get that George Floyd policing bill passed.
How could they? The Democrats didn't. They don't hold the House and the Senate. How could they do it?
But yet they promised that they would get it passed if they would became president. They promised. Guess what, man? If that bill were to be passed, it wouldn't be worth the paper it took to wipe your butt, because it would be so watered down. What would it affect? Well, my medical civil rights bill, the reason why we're going state by state, because a lot of people don't realize this. If that bill passed federally, guess who it affects? Federal parole officers, the DEA, the FBI.
Thank you.
It won't affect the local local municipalities. If George Floyd police now get passed here in my little town, they don't have to obligate that. They're not obligated to go on that bill. So it has to go state by state. So that's the reason why we're doing the medical civil rights bill. We're passing it state by state. We got it passed in Connecticut. Randy Cox was a young man that they picked up. They had him in a paddy wagon. And they put the hand behind her back. And the driver was driving erratically. And it threw him, it slung him, and it threw him, and he bumped, and he hit it, and he jammed his neck. Anyhow, they took him, and this is in Connecticut. They took him to the jail to arrest him. Well, he couldn't walk. Well, the people were saying, "Oh, this was just lazy."
Right.
He's on drugs. Anyhow, 6 hours later, when they got ready to book him, he couldn't walk, and he couldn't move his legs, and they thought that he was BSing.
Right.
Well, then they took him to the hospital. He broke his neck.
Wow.
He's been paralyzed for 6 years. His name is Randy Cox. Look it up in Connecticut.
Wow.
He got $40 million. And that's where my medical civil rights bill is going to make a difference. Because you can't let nobody lay there for 3 or 4 hours.
That's right.
Because you're not a judge. You're a correctional officer. I mean, you're not you're a doctor.
Exactly.
You're a correctional officer. So the bad thing is, we ask police to be counselors, correctional officers, nurses, and all, but when in doubt, call somebody that does know what they're doing. It's like the young man in Boston. They stopped him. He was a black guy. They stopped him, and they thought that he was on drugs. He's laying there, they pull them out of the car, they take them to the police station. 4 hours later, they realize he had a massive stroke.
They said, well, why didn't they take him straight to the hospital? Like some of the
Because
see,
they stereotype black people with getting high, drunk, drugs, and they are being the health professionals when they're COs.
and you know, I don't know if you one of my mentors, you might have met him. His name is Ronald Hampton. Yeah, he's a retired DC cop. He's been in the National Black Police Association, National Association of Black.
And that sounds familiar.
Yeah, you probably met him. Real tall brother. He used to always say, he said, a lot of times with the lawsuits, instead of 40 million, take 30 million in policy change. See, because you have to address policy. Like with that young brother in the jail, once he complained about something, they should have immediately gave him medical attention. And I know in my facility, we have a nurse practitioner in the receiving area. So when there's something in question about someone that comes in, we go right around the corner, nurse so-and-so, come check this guy out.
I had so much documentation of people that were incarcerated that gone without medical attention for weeks. Put a dude in a slammer cell with a broken hand.
That's crazy.
And he comes out a month later and his hand is still swollen and purple, and they gotta amputate 2 fingers. You know? So I've got plenty of this stuff that has been documented to me.
I got one for you. I got one. The lady I keep talking about, Raynette Turner, she died 3 weeks after Sandra Bland. They took her to the hospital. The hospital said she's okay. They sent her back to the police department, and she died in the cell. She should have never got clearance at the hospital.
And this is the crazy thing is, there's this fine line here. The data is all wrong, because if you get in a volatile situation with the police, and as soon as they drop you off at the hospital, guess where you died at?
The
hospital.
Right. In the hospital. That's what I'm saying. She shouldn't have went back to the.
Oh, imagine. Right.
But she should have got a disappearance ticket. It was $35 worth of crab legs she stole. She shouldn't have never been in the cell.
Yeah. And
imagine
that.
For the whole
Imagine that. And that data is not recorded because they give that to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that. Imagine how many lives are taken and lost from incidents that happen in custodial deaths when people don't care.
Right.
When they don't care. You know, right. And that's one of the ways that they keep that count down, because if that count keeps, inflating as it is, they're going to be like, wow, well, we might need to check at that. But,
right.
Oh my God, right. Vicki Willis' son, Chicago, I'm Tariq Pleasant. They took him to the hospital. And it was in, I don't know, when was it? November, December, whenever it was. But there was a discrepancy because they thought that he was out in cold because rigor mortis had set in.
Jesus.
And he just come from the prison. Think about that. It takes 5-8 hours for rigor mortis to set in. So, man.
Sometimes I don't know how these other facilities operate, because things like, we had those type of incidents in the past, but they quickly corrected them. In the 90s, jail was different. Now it's a lot better in the facility that I did work at in making sure that inmates were safe. But it's also in whether it's the police department, any type of law enforcement, is the type of officer that you hire. I really think, because I've seen in the last 6 or 7 years, I've seen incidents that should never have happened because the officer was lazy. They found this young man dead, and the officer did the ring. But when she looked in it, she saw him sitting with his back against the cell door. She never shake the door. Right. She just kept it moving. And she didn't say anything was strange to the relieving officer. And it wasn't until the relieving officer came on, did the ring, and was like, yo, and he didn't respond. When he opened the door, the body just fell out. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
You know, and the sad thing about it, the rookie officer got fired. He didn't know.
That's what I was.
But this was a senior officer that said, you know what, I got you. Sit at the table. I'll go do the ring for you. You know, just sit at the table. So, but they didn't fire the senior white officer. They fired the junior black officer.
Because he should have equipped her with the ability to, when you're a supervisor, you own that.
That's right.
The dude in Tarrant County, that's the problem that I had. They fired the 2 senior officers, but they didn't fire the other people that were kicking that dude, Anthony Johnson.
Exactly.
And you could see the video. They were just beating the heck out of him, man. It's like in Canton, Ohio, Frank Tyson. When they walked to the bar, and that's the reason why this Myth Cop app that I'm developing, you cannot, everything that is sitting in the cloud.
That's right.
The police database, guess what they can do? They'll only send you that portion of it. They only see you what you want to see. And when they walked to the door, the first thing the lady said was, "Get this nigga out of my bar." The second thing they said was, they walked in there, and instead of saying, "Hey man, what's going on? How you doing?" the first thing they did was physically attack him. Now, this is the video that we seen was 7 minutes. The video that I seen was 28 minutes. Wow. Frank Tyson had a closed funeral.
Wow.
How do you get a closed funeral? Because you got choked. Just saying. So those people in that bar took a liberty to see if they could fix his face for him while he was lying. They ain't nobody been charged there yet.
Really?
You talk about the only person who had any grief in the Eric Garner situation was the female black supervising officer. She was investigated, and then they ended up pressing charges. I think she lost 20 vacation days or something. But the officer who choked him out, did nothing happen to him. The white officer,
you know, and oh my God, y'all, have y'all ever heard this terminology? Y'all gonna love this one. Excited delirium.
Say it again.
Excited delirium.
Yes.
We get extra human strength.
Yes. When black men have excited delirium.
We can feel less pain. That doctor that came in here in the late 1800s that said that black people brain is a little bit larger than a monkey. The only way that we can be taught or taught anything is by using certain principles and rules. That's whooping your butt. You know what I'm saying? We can feel more pain, that we can withstand more pain than other people because of our neurological way of thinking. What's his name? Bill Yates, the Rodney King dude. Daryl Gates. He said that black people die with that knee maneuver because our veins in our neck smaller. That's what he said. But excited delirium is a excuse that they make when police kill black folks, because they say that we get so excited that we have heart attacks and we have strokes while some 220-pound man has his knee on your carotid artery. It's just another excuse to make an excuse for people killing people of color. Come on, man. We ain't no stronger than the next person. We don't get superhuman strength because we get mad. But yet, there are all of these like racial epithets. There's all these things that are put towards us because somebody else took an indecent liberty with our life because they were judge, jury, and execution.
That's right.
They better be glad we don't get superhuman strength. It'd be a whole different narrative if we did. I'm seriously, like, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying this. We had superhuman strength in them situations. A lot of those news stories would be different.
Let me tell you, man. I've been in so many situations. We did a little vote at my sister's house, and they were like, "Man, you know what? I would have never thought that Perry would. If you knew him, you called him Perry. I would have never thought that Perry would have been the one killed by police. Well, who did y'all think it would have been? The police stopped me. This has been the way I've been my whole life. The police stopped me. I'm at 10-2, but I'm quick. Why'd you stop me? What's the problem? Tell you what, if you're going to give me a ticket, give me a ticket. Because I'm not going to stay here and get shot in the ass. Because I'm not going to stop talking to you. Then I realized that First Amendment only lasts till that man gets tired of listening to you.
Exactly.
You know? I got arrested at a park. About 3 months ago that I've been playing basketball at for the last, 5 years. I haven't been in a store in my town in 4 years. I live in a town called Gettysburg, South Dakota, where the battle was. We had a Confederate flag on our police uniform patch in the building. And when George died, somebody called me at the last funeral and said, "You know, you got a Confederate flag on your police uniform." I'm like, "Get the hell out of here." No, we don't. But yeah, we did. And that it had to come off when they were tearing down all the national monuments. And I own a motel and 7 or 8 houses. But I went from being an okay black guy, because you had a couple things, to nigga, go back to Africa. In a 24-hour span. We played softball at the park on the 25th of May, 2020. The 26th of May, when people found out I was George Floyd's uncle, I was the dumbest nigga in the world. I had not literally been into a store in my town in 4 years. Because if you call me a nigga, you don't want none of my money. You want my fist in your mouth. You want my foot in your ass. I've had people write F off nigga on the side of a building, and it stayed there for 8 months. I told the police, "Hey man, you got the freedom of speech. If you don't like it, go back to Africa." So when I tell you my fight is real every day, all day.
Wow.
And I know what you're thinking. Why don't you leave there? First of all, there ain't no black people in South Dakota. It's 45, 50 below zero in the cold. And you got people there that obviously don't respect or care about what you're doing. I worked my whole life to have something. And the only way you get something is you keep fighting and don't give up.
That's right.
I got to tell you a quick story. When I was a little kid, I grew up poor, lived in a 3-room house of 15 people. And my mama used to take us riding through these neighborhoods where, those folks lived there with all the nice houses and the nice trees and stuff. And I didn't realize why my mama was crying until about 3 or 4 years ago. And I realized that she was crying because she was showing us, if you work hard and do the right thing, you could have some of this stuff. Well, my whole life, all I wanted was a house that I could put an 18-foot Christmas tree in.
That's it.
I worked and I worked and I worked. Y'all ready for this?
What's up?
And after this, we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
I put that damn Christmas tree up, and it took me 5 hours to put it up. People call me 2 years later and said, "It's still Christmas?" Yes. It took 5 hours to put it up. It took 5 hours to put it down. Right?
You ain't got time for that, right?
It took me 2 years to take it down, man. What I'm telling you with this is, you set a dream, you set a goal, you fulfill it.
That's right.
And you move on.
That's right.
And that's what goals are made for. Dream, breathe, and deliver. And all I'm saying is this, young man, as long as people like us keep doing this and fighting for change, we dream, we breathe, and now we're delivering. We can make a difference with our voice, and that's all Uncle Selwyn trying to do.
That's
Uncle
all.
Selwyn was sorry that I teetered off on the Olympic sport boxing. That was wrong, but that's okay.
Yes, sir.
Everybody came here for a short period of time. Why not fulfill your destiny and live the best life that you can?
That's right.
Only got one.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And we got your information.
Yes.
And God willing, we're gonna see each other at Sister Gwen's event.
I'll be there. I will be there, and I need to find a catfish place in New York City.
Catfish.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be hard, man.
It was hard the last time I was there. Y'all got all them filet yings and things like that. I don't know how to eat.
We ain't that fancy, man. We gonna find you some catfish.
Man,
I find your fish place in the hood. That's what you got.
I went to the plaza and a steak was never seen this before. It was some Japanese something.
Oh,
yeah.
$365,
and I thought they ran out of the restaurant. I'm like, oh no, gong, no.
No. You gotta go to a fish joint in the hood to get your catfish.
Oh, $365. I could buy a whole cow in South Dakota for that, man. Damn, that must have been a tasty steak. Didn't try it though.
They say it's good though. I know which one you're talking about. The
I
Japanese,
don't care. Come on, man.
Japanese beef steak.
Fall out. See these pretty white ones? They fall out if I touch something. $365. That's like $90 an ounce. And it was a little bit. You know how y'all fancy people do. Y'all get them little bitty things like 6-8 ounces. I'm a fat boy.
Someone said we gotta bring you to the Ave in Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
4th Avenue and Second Street. There's the fish place on the corner.
Don't they have it where you can pick your fish out? They cook it for you right there.
Yeah.
Right at this spot we talking about. Right on the
Okay,
Avenue.
I'm coming to the Ave. I'm coming to the Ave because I need it. You see, I'm a little husky. My face a little round. I need that grease intake, man.
Well, we thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, man. And I hope, like I said, I give my sincere apology for anybody that felt like I was coming off sideways. But all I was doing is I fight for everybody. And if it's unfair, it's unfair.
No,
I'm
listen,
sorry.
it is what it is, brother. Like we could always. I
ain't take no steroids on that right there, baby. That's 58. Ooh.
Listen, we always
everybody's chiming in. They say, "Yep, you buy, they fly, they fry."
I like to eat it. You know, when you're eating some good fish, when you eat it, you eat about 3 or 4 pieces. You can't see, your eyes are swimming because that grease has got you combobulated and stuff. The taste is good, but you can't see the high blood pressure kicking in. That's the kind of fish I want. Can somebody point me to one of them? Them old greasy spoons.
This is the spot.
They got one. They definitely got it in Mount Vernon.
This is the spot, right? This is the spot. Yo, with that said, we want to thank you for your time. We're coming to the end of the show. Definitely appreciate it. We got your contact information. I'll make sure you have our contact information.
Albie, come in. Hey, man, I'm sorry to do this to you. Come here. Let me show you. Let me show you what a 58-year-old baby had for his 50th birthday.
Wait, hold on. Wait, you're a baby still?
No, you baby.
No. You said what a 58-year-old baby.
Oh, okay. This is what it's about.
God bless. Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
This is the reason why we do this, because I want his life to be a lot different than the life I had to live.
That's right. Because
honestly, y'all, when I was a youngin', when we were youngin', our parents wouldn't let us have our hair like this. Man, get on out of here. Go get a haircut. That's my baby boy. I thank you, my brothers. I love you. And let's stay in contact. Let's do the thing. And hey.
Yes, sir. Peace out, brother.
Hey, man. Love you, man.
Love you, brother. Take care now.
Grease, fish, high blood pressure. They go together.
Yeah, we got you.
I'm out.
Peace out, man.
Later, baby.
Yes. We're coming to the end of the show. Black Westchester. This is the People Before Politics radio show. 10-year anniversary. Still going, giving you the real talk for the community since 2014. Now, I do want to take this 1 second, and we're going to close. First off, there's never going to be a time where we're going to say something and people are going to disagree with us. Even some of our strongest supporters have disagreed with some of our guests and some of the things said on our show. Yo, the bottom line is, our character, so we're not about that. We're not about that life. So you know what I'm saying? And I'm talking to one specific person who was the first one to make a comment. You got to know our character. So, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need to listen to the words that are being said and not just assume we're saying something that we're not saying. You know, and hopefully you watch the video and you'll see the whole thing. But then you end up missing, because of that little 5 minutes, you end up missing all the great conversation that happened afterwards. And that's disappointing. But, you know, it's going to be what it's going to be. You know, people want you to keep it real until you keep it real and say something they don't like. So, you know, that's unfortunate. I want to thank our guest, Uncle Selwyn Jones. Great guest. We definitely going to link up with him. And while he's doing that mental health bill state to state, definitely see what
support that. Do what
we could do to support that in New York, man. Said he got it in Connecticut, and see if we can get it here in New York. So, Damon, any last words?
No, I think it was very important in what he said about the George Floyd bill, and that's we had as Black law enforcement, we have questioned the George Floyd bill. And also what he said was very revealing about the situation. And I'm not even going to get into that. It's just the fact that it's unfortunate that certain people use these families for agenda.
Protest profiteers.
Yeah. As we always call them, the protest profiteers. But also, you know, he made it clear that you have to go state to state. You have to go county to county. You know, and for accountability and in the reversal. You know, because you have people saying that Trump can do all this stuff, but he can't. You know, and if you're going to call the man a liar, why don't you recognize that he's lying about this too? So, you know, let's be clear on what we're doing as Black people when we use our votes. We have to use our votes wisely, and you know, all corners of the Black community must participate. You know, on all levels of government. So I think we have to stop with the hypocrisy, Black people, and we have to stop with the symbolism and the feel good, because there's a lot of people that look like us that are not feeling good here in America and not feeling good throughout the rest of the world. And the reality is that we, regardless of what we face in America, we are still the freest Black people in the world. So we set the standard. And right now we're not looking good, because we have been turning our backs on the suffering and the oppression and the apartheid of Black and brown people all over the planet. And I'm straight saying that. You know, we believe in Jesus Christ, and we claim that we are spiritual. Then we should understand our responsibility and not be so numb to the pain and suffering of people in other parts of the globe that are, their pain and suffering is being perpetrated by our government. Black people, by our government, by our tax dollars. You know, I refuse to talk politics on my page because it takes me to a real negative spirit. So I don't do that anymore. I only talk politics here once a week. Other than that, you will not see me post anything. But my understanding from the research and just being a Black man in America, we have to begin to demand. Now, you thought I was talking crazy. Uncle Selwyn said the same thing. You know, there's things that the government, that they're telling people that just can't come true. So, you know, we have to stop pimping fear to Black people and start pimping progress. Stop pimping progress. And let me tell you, I'm 56 years old. Black faces in high places ain't going to do nothing for us if we're not moving in unity and as a movement. Understand that.
And on top of that, like I said, we can keep complaining about groups like APAC, but what we need to do is create our own grassroots, year-round strategic infrastructure and political PAC so we can support the candidates that we want in office with our wallets and not just our words. So until we do that, we're never going to have our total interests represented. And that's what we're going to have to do. Like I said, you either keep complaining about it or you do something different. Like you said, doing the same thing over and over is the very definition of insanity. And that's what we keep doing, the same thing over and over. As at some point, you got to try something different. What Uncle Selwyn said, now nobody's advocating riots and stuff, but as Martin Luther King said, riot is the language of the unheard. After people get tired of getting unheard after a while, they start speaking louder and louder and louder. You know what I'm saying? And these younger generations, that's what you're starting to see. They're not afraid to say it.
Right.
And everybody's painting them out to be all kinds of whatever. But it's the young people that change the world. Martin Luther King, I always say John Lewis was 15 or 16 when he first heard Martin Luther King and he crossed that bridge with him. You know what I'm saying? It's the young people that change. It's going to change this world. And lastly, I wanted to say, you know, I know they expect people of color, especially from poor backgrounds, to accept this money that they get as, you know, justice for the death of their loved one, but they know by not taking the case to court, there won't be no what do you call it, Damon? When you no case law. There won't be no case law that can be used in other cases. So sometimes it is important to take the case, you know what I'm saying, to court to try to win them cases. Then there's case law for the next situations that happen. They can use that as case law in their case. But, you know, paying, let me tell you, there's money in budgets in big cities for these situations.
Yeah.
It's already budgeted in. We're gonna $10 million or $20 million or whatever it's gonna be. It's budgeted in. So when it happens, they just pay you off real quick, make you go away. So and the sad thing is, you're being paid with your money. That's your taxpayer money that you paid in there, that they're paying you with, for your rights being violated or your loved one being killed. Anyway, enough of that. Again, the Raynette Turner, say her name. Jarrell Garrett, say his name. Kamal Flowers, say his name. Jonathan Maldonado, say his name. Never let us forget, as Damon and Ken Chamberlain Jr. always say, we got our own George Floyds here in Westchester. Let's not forget that.
Right.
Everybody who tuned in, we went a little over, but we had a guest who had a lot to say and was great. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is the last couple of days to get it added into the 10-year anniversary commemorative issue, or you want to make a donation for our 10-year anniversary to support 10 years of news with the Black point of view and real talk for the community. Holla. And we'll have this up on blackwestchester.com. If you're on YouTube right now, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit share. Make sure you leave your comments so we can get that algorithm going so more and more people can know about what we're doing. That's it. Until next week. Peace.
Peace.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. Today, look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. Peace.